Otakuology Podcast with Otaku Mike Engine Graves.
Merry Christmas and welcome to the Otakuology Podcast. I'm your host, Otaku Mike, aka the Dark Knight of anime and manga. And with me, as always, is the boy wonder himself, Jin Graves.
That's me.
Aka my heterosexual life partner. And
I
today,
totally thought you were going to leave that out this time.
we are talking about Merry Little Batman. One of the most recent things I think we've ever talked about, because it came out like on December 9th, and now we're talking about it because this was one that you picked and you said, hey, let's watch this.
I totally thought this came out last year.
No, this came out this year.
Oh.
Specifically, let me look it up and see when it actually came out.
But yeah.
It came out December 8th, 2023.
Yeah.
That's when it came out. So you're the one who picked this. I know it's not exactly anime, but it is animated. It's animated, you know. And we have had a couple of Batman animes out there that have been hit or miss. This one I personally think is not actually a miss. You know, for the most part, you know.
So what you're saying is you liked it.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But you want to get us talking about this discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we start out with Damian and Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
I want to point one thing out first, though.
What was that?
What did you think about how Alfred looked?
Oh, that was going to be one of my points I brought up. I'm just going to say, I mean, I know Alfred's like an older man. Alfred was like nightmare fuel, I feel like, because I'm already kind of like... I don't know if it's an actual thing, but I have a fear of like really old people.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So whenever Alfred would come up on the screen, I was like, ugh, I feel like he could fall over with like a gust of wind. Because he just... I did not like his design, and there's a couple other people in this I didn't really care for their design. Personally.
That's true. That's true. And I really think that because I couldn't tell for a little while what was going on until we got closer to the end of it, of while some of the people looked the way that they did.
Uh-huh.
Because nobody in this is still like spring chicken area.
No, they're all kind of like aged up, which I thought was really interesting, and an interesting way to play like in the Batman world.
Right.
I mean, obviously this is like an Elseworlds tale, you could say. It's not like in like real like normal DC continuity and stuff, which I like. I like that it's kind of outside the continuity, and does its own thing and whatnot. And we get into that later on, like when Batman ends up like taking away all the crime later on, and the bad guys have nothing to do and stuff. But I thought it was interesting to see, like, you know, nobody was really a spring chicken. You know, even Batman himself, like, was aged up a little bit.
He had the beard.
Oh yeah, he had the beard, which added intimidation factor apparently, which was really funny.
Yeah, I do have to say though, with that little thing, I felt like you and I did have a good running in the race for another character in the world of animated things that did do a pretty good representation of us.
Of bearded single fathers?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, because he also didn't seem like he was all that like super fit.
Yeah.
But you know, he had the beard and everything, and I was like, oh man, like I could totally see that if that was me and Mike, like dressing up as Batman, talking to our kids.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, let's get into talking about the premise of this movie. So it starts out on Christmas Eve. Damian is sitting around. Not really sitting around. He's running around Wayne Manor, uh,
And
playing
he's going,
Batman.
I'm Batman.
He's like, I'm Batman. I'm Batman. And I just gotta say, I love his little Batman get up he's got going on with
Right.
with like the towel or the blanket wrapped around him, and he has a bag over his head, and he made like a makeshift cowl with goggles and stuff. Like it's a paper bag that was over his head. I
Yeah.
thought that was cute, and he was running after his cat, who is unfortunately named Selena for Catwoman. I wonder how that ended up. Like, do you think she liked it that Bruce named her after his cat? You know, because Catwoman's not in
I
this.
I don't know. I mean, Catwoman's not in this. And
No.
that was one of the things that I was kind of confused about, if she actually was still like living
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
It was just kind of one of those weird things because we never did see her, so I assumed that she was probably dead
Uh
for a
huh.
long time. And I somebody that hasn't like jumped really deep into the origins of Batman and stuff other than Batman himself, I didn't know if it was really continuity that he was supposed to be uh Catwoman's child.
He's not. He's
But in
not
this,
Catwoman. He's
in
not.
this
He's
though, they
not
made
Cat.
him that way.
No, he's not Catwoman's child at all. They never reference him as Catwoman's child. He is the son of Batman and Talia al Ghul. Damian Wayne is. I don't know where you got
Uh
Catwoman from, because Catwoman has a child, but it's a girl with Batman. Her name's Helena Kyle.
oh, well, this they kind of made a reference to uh she's still a burglar,
I mean,
and
yeah,
they
she probably is still a burglar because he was playing with the cat, and the
yeah.
cat's name is Selena. But yeah, no,
So I didn't know if that was the reference to her being Catwoman being his mom,
no,
because that's
no,
kind of what it seemed like.
Catwoman is not Damian Wayne's mom
Okay,
at all.
yeah, just to
No,
that one part, that's what it seemed like.
yeah, no. He Damien is the grandson of Ra's al Ghul, and he is a psychopath, and he was raised in the League of Assassins, and he was going to be basically the vessel for Ra's al Ghul when he would come back, and he would have a new
Yeah.
body. That's what it was. He had nothing to do with Catwoman at all.
Okay, okay.
But the more you know.
Yeah, education.
Yeah. But yeah, we start out with him. I love this chase sequence of him going through the manor, and
Yeah,
he ends up in the air conditioning system and falls through. And at first you think he's in the Bat Cave, but he's actually in like a garage, I think it is.
yeah.
And we think we see Batman, but nope. It's just Bruce Wayne. It's just Bruce Wayne. And he's all worried that Damien got a boo boo and stuff. And we find out that Bruce actually, before Damien was born, he got rid of all crime in Gotham. All crime. So no crime for 5 years, which is really amazing, I have to say. To
That's true.
think to think that he got rid of all crime within, which I love. I love the scene where it would flash and you see like the old Gotham before it was all crime ridden, and Batman would come in and like swoop in and like just beat everybody up, and it would flash forward to like, oh, this is the nice Gotham. Arkham Asylum is now a daycare place, and
Right.
they would have the
Yeah,
chemical place, and it's like all like eco-friendly now and stuff. I thought that was funny. Like I loved that, the little touches like that. This movie really has a fun sense of humor, Like it's not.
I agree with that.
It's not like balls to the wall humor like Teen Titans Go, but it has like a really nice balance of like heart, of humor, of kind of almost serious moments at times,
Yes.
which I liked. I liked it a lot. And so
I
we
agree
go
with
f-
that.
we
I
go from
I also
go ahead.
think that it kind of gets expanded out a little more, especially whenever um we have the part where Batman gets called away.
Oh yeah. So, but before that, we'll get before that. Before that, Batman gives Damian his a bat belt, like a utility belt. And then we
Yeah.
get to the part where ends up getting called away because there is a crime in the mountains, and Damian really wants to go with Batman, but Batman's like, "No, you're not coming with me. This is not going to happen." And whatnot. What did you think of the little dinner scene with Alfred and Bruce and Damian?
It's it's just one of those things that throws me off whenever you have that whole thing where it's like everybody's like so far away from each other at the table.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
It's like, hey, can you pass me something? And it's like, I'm all the way down here.
Whatever they were eating was disgusting looking.
Oh, what they were eating? Oh man.
Yeah,
They were eating uh jellified. Oh shit, what was in the
it was
jello?
like Jello and meat, like
I
sausage, like blood sausage. I think it was.
I think that's what it was, yeah.
It's an actual dish.
Yeah.
I found this out. It's like an actual thing people eat, and I was like, ugh, that's disgusting.
And then when you see Alfred's age, you're kind of like, yeah, I
Yeah,
guess I could see that. Yeah,
and
yeah, that makes sense.
he really seemed to like what he made. Like he was like, oh yeah, you got to eat it before it solidifies.
This is the best.
Best thing ever. But yeah,
And that's where
Damien.
we get the they pick it up with their spoon and it's just
Yeah,
like congealed
yeah,
around the whole thing.
yeah. That's funny.
I'm
Uh,
not gonna lie, it's really weird because it reminded me of one of the things that's popped up on my feed in some places
uh huh,
where it's the if you have a cold winter, you make spaghetti and then you go out and you put your fork up like somewhere where it's higher and
uh
the
huh.
when the spaghetti gets cold enough, it freezes in that way so it looks like it's hovering,
Oh,
but
really?
it's because the spaghetti's stiff.
Oh, I've never
Yeah,
seen that
so
before.
it'll be the fork will be in the spaghetti and it'll be it when you do it, it should be like 6 inches away from the thing, and it's because of all the water in the spaghetti freezes and it holds your fork up.
Huh.
But
Interesting.
that's what that thing made me think about whenever it was the
Yeah.
gelatinous stuff like stuck to the spoon, as they lifted it up.
Yeah. Yeah. That's. I don't like that picture in my head. It looks. No. No, I don't like that at all.
Guess you'll
Um.
have to try it.
But Batman ends up going away. Damien tries to stow away in the bat plane. He was like, no, this is not gonna work. But Batman ends up kind of scolding him and saying, oh, you're not ready for this, because he gives him like the utility belt, but it's all like non-lethal stuff or things that can't hurt Damien,
Yeah.
which he gives him like bat band-aids, uh, a foam batarang, and he has like a call button that's like, help, like an emergency button, like help, I've fallen kind of thing.
Yeah.
Batman, Batman's definitely like I want to say like a overbearing parent,
He's
kind of
overprotective.
overprotective. Yes, that's a good way to see it. But so Batman ends up going away, and Damian and Alfred end up going to go make Alfred's special hot cocoa because Alfred wants Damian to feel better. And Damian hatches a plan. He's like, hey, I'm going to eat all these marshmallows so Alfred has to go out.
Wait, didn't he? Because I think he suggested something else first, and then Damian was cooking a plan and asked if he could make his famous hot
Did
chocolate.
he? Did he do that?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Because then he asked if he could do that, and that's how he knew like he could concoct it where he could eat all these marshmallows in time.
That part was really funny. Like,
Oh, it totally made me think of a kid thing. Like,
yeah, it was totally a kid thing to do. Where like they're like, oh yeah, I'm totally gonna shove this entire bag of marshmallows in my mouth and try to eat them all. Which
yeah,
I mean, yeah, because he wanted his utility belt, and he ends up getting his utility belt. And while Alfred is out, he ends up going to the actual Bat Cave, and we get to see some classic Batman suits. We see like an Adam West inspired suit. Bat nipple suit is one of them, but Damian gets his own suit. It's a high tech suit, very much like the Spider Man Iron Man suit that Iron Man makes,
yeah.
because he's got like the artificial AI in it, which is Bat Dad, which I think is hysterical.
Oh my god,
See,
right?
like the whole Bat Dad situation. There are things that happen with it during the movie, and I'm like, oh, that's clever. That is very clever. And there's one thing that happens, which we'll talk about when we get to it. And I was like, oh, that's heartbreaking. That was
Yeah.
so sad. Uh,
Well,
but
one of my favorite things that happens
what?
with that is when he's sitting there
Uh huh.
and we have the first thing of the projection where it like turns on
Uh huh.
the thing and it's Bruce sitting there with like little baby Damien and he's like, Damien, if you're watching this, I've most certainly died.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then it like pauses. It's like one of those things whenever somebody like is telling you a story and they go, and this happened, and you're like, that's really fucked up. And they're like, oh, I didn't finish talking, It's kind of like that, and then it goes, or
Yeah.
you
It
just
is.
broke it into the Batcave against.
Yeah, you just broken into the Batcave and you're trying to steal a suit, whatever. I love that he like kind of fast forwards and he's like, okay, now Damien, let me tell you about when a mommy and a daddy love each other and blah blah blah, and we get to see like fast forwards a couple times and like Damien ends up like having a blowout in his diaper at one point, and Bruce is freaking out, and one and he gets him to sleep, and then he like ends up taking off
Well,
his
and I
diaper.
don't even think he changes him. He asks Alfred to do it.
Oh yeah, because he can't do it. That's what it was, I think, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly. Yeah, which that was funny. I love that scene. It very much like humanizes Bruce Wayne,
right,
because Batman's always like, I'm the best at everything kind of thing. And a lot of times people say he has like no real weaknesses because he can out overcome anything,
right.
outthink anything, anything like that, outfight anybody. He's always 12 steps ahead. But like being a father, he is very much humanized. And I feel like we've all been in that situation as dads of like, oh man, this is a really loaded diaper. What am I gonna do? Oh no, he just shit when I took off the diaper again. Oh no, stuff like that. What? He just peed all over
Hold my
himself.
nose, hold my nose.
Hold my nose, hold my nose. Uh, so like I can really relate to that. But Damien ends up trying to steal the Bat car, which he's unsuccessful at, but he steals the Bat Cycle. And I just said the Batmobile is really crazy in this movie. I wish we saw more of the Batmobile and what
Right,
it did, because we only saw it for like a split second, but it had like mufflers and pipes coming out of it and stuff. It was a very like drastic redesign, and I really liked it. That's one
that's
of the
true.
redesigns I really liked.
Yeah, very, very true on that one.
Yeah,
Uh, but hey, we get to go out in the town finally, kind of.
we do. We do get to go out of town on the Bat Cycle.
Yeah.
And
But
go ahead.
that was after the part we skipped though.
Okay, what did we skip?
Where the two henchmen are going around the
Oh
houses
yes, we guys
stealing
talk.
stuff.
Yes, talk about that. Talk about that.
Uh, and what are their names? Because I keep forgetting their names because of the name that Joker calls them at one point. He
Uh,
calls them Cletus and whatchamacallit. So
oh,
like
he
the whole
does.
movie when I was trying to tell somebody else about this, I was like, Cletus and whatchamacallit, and I was like, fuck, what are these people's names?
Uh,
I think it's
Francine is one of them, and Terry.
that's right, that's right.
But I don't think they've ever said their names in the show.
They did.
Oh, they really? I thought they were like Punch and Judy, like Joker's like original henchmen.
Yeah.
But I guess they're not. But I like the whole. What did Joker call them?
He called them Cletus and whatchamacallit.
I like that. I think that's really funny.
Um but yeah, they're trying to hit up like all of the rich houses
Yeah.
and steal from all of them. And this is where we get one of my other favorite parts, where after Alfred has um, gone to go get the marshmallows, then we have Damien where he's like, I need to have a power shake.
Oh yes.
And that's something where you're like, I could totally see Batman doing this, like on a
Yeah.
regular basis, like whether you know it or not, like it happens in the movies and other things like that. But we get this, and we're watching it in the microwave as it's turning. It's a carton of ice cream, and
Yes.
he pulls it out, and it looks like it's maybe like rainbow sherbet or something.
Uh huh.
Uh, and there's lollipop sticks floating around in the stuff as well, and it's a slice of pizza.
Yeah, and
And he starts going to drink it, and he goes, "It's not to the max enough," or something like that. And he sticks it back in there and turns up the microwave.
yeah, and it explodes.
Right, causing
Yeah.
a freak occurrence to happen as the little shock from the thing goes all the way through the house to the main breaker system and turning off all the power, thus opening the front gates of Wayne Manor.
Yeah, in this part where they go to like basically break into the house, I got really big Home Alone vibes.
Definitely.
Like in this. And like seeing Damien like use all the secret passages and stuff to like take on these two would-be burglars. It was very fun to see, and like how he very much had his Batman tactics,
Right.
but like he it was just funny. Like I laughed because
I'm I'm behind you.
I'm behind you.
Well, and the thing that I really liked was that, and that what's his face recorded the whole encounter.
Oh yeah, yeah. Terry.
Terry recorded the whole encounter on his phone of like what's going on. And of course, like Damien had dropped his belt, and
Yeah.
that's his whole drive for the movie. He's trying to get it back from him while they're at the house, and can't figure out why. But then like you said, the Home Alone traps. You have a specific trap that you liked in this?
Um I liked when he was jumping back and forth from like the bookshelves
Yeah,
and doing that. Because it was funny to see him like flip flop in all the secret passages. I
yeah,
don't really remember what the traps were. Oh no, no. There was one that I did like, and I laughed really hard. I remember now. He
yeah,
sprays like he gets a super soaker, and he sprays oil on them. I think it is,
yeah,
and but he like holds like a lighter to the super soaker and like makes a like homemade flamethrower.
yeah.
Because I was like, oh, that's savage. That's like really savage.
Right. Well, so mine was kind of part of that, which
Uh-huh.
was where he had all the cooking oil on the floor,
Uh-huh.
and they had to slide through that whole thing of like basically like traps. Like all of the little knights had like things in their hand, and they were all chopping, and
Yeah.
so they had to avoid those. And then it got all the way, and they get up to a kiddie pool, and they're like, "What's in there? Is it acid or something like that?" He goes,
Uh-huh.
"No, it's just water." Well, what's that for? For the fire. And then I think that's when it plays off of he uses the flamethrower on him.
Oh yeah.
So he like had prepared in the short time he had prepared a water full of a kiddie pool full of water for them to jump in after they got lit on fire.
Yeah, but they end up getting away, unfortunately, which leads to the big plot, like you said, of Damian going to get his belt
Right.
back
And
because
they lose all the presents.
they lose all the presents. I think they don't lose all of them. I don't think. I think they still had some.
No,
I
they
can't.
lost all of them except for the bat belt.
Did they? Okay, and they take the belt back. They end up taking the belt back to Joker like later on. But Damian ends up going to the city, like you said, riding on this massive bat motorcycle, which I don't even think he like could reach the pedals.
No.
So I was like, how does little Batman get the like drive this motorcycle? Which I love the fact that they refer to him as little Batman,
Right.
which is funny. Uh but he ends up going to the city and finding like it's like almost like a Sears or like a what are they called? Like a store. It's
The
like a
mall
specific. No, it's not like a mall. Is it a mall that they're
where
at?
he went in town?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about where the henchman guys went?
You know where Damien goes.
Oh yeah, he goes to a mall.
He goes to like a mall. I want. I
Because
want to.
he's like, who can I talk to find my stuff? They were stealing presents, so where could it? Santa's got to have surveillance of the whole town.
Yeah.
So he goes to the mall because he knows that's where Santa's taking pictures at.
Yeah, and he finds Santa, and Santa happens to be Bane, and he's teamed up with Poison
Poison
Ivy,
Ivy. Yeah.
which I didn't know that was Poison Ivy
I didn't know it
until,
was Poison Ivy either, and
until
I didn't know it was Bane for a little while.
see I knew it was Bane because he was just a big guy, and when he busts out of his suit, I was like, oh, that's Bane. That's Bane. But I didn't know that was Poison Ivy until towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I hate Poison Ivy's design. She looks like Yzma from The Emperor's New Groove. Like,
That's true.
you're supposed to have this woman who's like a bombshell. Gorgeous woman. And you make her look like.
But you got to think about it. This is in the future.
I know, but still, I feel like she should have some sort of sex appeal.
Because whenever we had the whole thing where it was like in the past,
Yeah.
like she looked how we know her to look,
Yeah.
you know, but now it's like she's like somebody's grandma.
I don't like that. I don't
And they
like
were,
that at all.
but if you looked at them, everybody was that way except for like Alfred's level of being scary was all the villains' level of being scary. So you kind of knew like they were the same age. And then you had Batman, that was like mid-30s maybe, something like that.
Later on when we get to Penguin, oh my god. Oh, Penguin.
He's coming
Penguin.
up.
Yeah, but
Well,
go
and then
ahead.
we have the distress call.
Yeah.
And, Batman is like trying to figure out, okay, well, what's going on? I got to get back to Damian and everything else. And he goes into and looks at it and realizes that Mr. Freeze had to be the culprit of
Uh-huh.
while the inside of his thing wouldn't work. And then he ends up seeing Mr. Freeze And Mr. Freeze looks like a freaking retired guy with his helmet and everything on,
Yeah.
wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
And he has like a fishing hat on.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's doing the guy whoever's playing him is doing like an Arnold's kind of like voice.
Yeah,
So
like an Arnold robotic voice, because he almost sounds like he's kind of robotic as well when he does it.
Like, I really feel like he was channeling like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze in that performance, which I thought was funny. Like, I wasn't expecting Mr. Freeze to be in this, and when he showed up, I thought it was a fun interpretation of Mr. Freeze. Like, I had no problem with Mr. Freeze. Like, I thought he was a fun, and I love seeing Batman fight Mr. Freeze and stuff.
Right.
It was cool. It was well animated and stuff.
Yeah.
But after that,
later on, when we don't have as much action, you actually get to sit there and kind of like watch all the characters on like how they've aged some.
Yeah.
So like you said, like with Poison Ivy, like her hair is all gray now and she's super, super thin.
Yeah, she's like a sunken in face.
And she has like no boobs anymore.
No boobs.
Then if you look at Bane, like he's old, but before, if you can see the difference, like his muscles are kind of saggy. His veins are like what do they call them? Like Saros veins or whatever, where they start turning purple.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, you know, everybody kind of has the same like thing, and of course, like you said, Penguin.
I thought it was funny that they gave Bane glasses.
That's true.
And
but I mean,
when he talked, he just grunted.
Right. So I mean, out of like everybody that's aged, you know, basically like Joker was the only one that was still somewhat young.
Yeah.
Which I really like the Joker's design in this.
Uh-huh.
I like how he kind of had the old like suit and everything whenever we see him like back in the day. Yeah. And he looks like the classic Joker that we know of.
Yeah.
And then he looks like the same design with that, but with like the new Batman Brave and the Bold or whatever, where he's kind of like the circus freak.
Oh, he's got like the longer hair.
Yeah, he's got the dreads and stuff.
Yeah.
I felt like that's what this one was kind of trying to be, like in the middle.
Yeah.
Because he had just the long hair, he let it grow out, and then he still had like a different suit, like pants, but instead of like the jacket, he just had his little thing underneath it, his vest.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, he still had all the random different stuff, and of course the Penguin, like you said.
Yeah. So eventually, Damian ends up tracking. Was it tracking the bad guys to the zoo?
Yes.
Right. With the zoo, right?
He tracked him to the zoo after he had knocked down the giant Christmas tree.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Which I only mention that because it will play into something that we find out a little later.
And everybody got mad at him because he broke the Christmas tree.
Yes.
And then, so he meets Penguin at the zoo. And, you know, Penguin gives his big spiel and whatnot. And he's going to basically destroy the parade, the Christmas parade. And everything ends up going haywire. And Damian is unsuccessful at catching the Penguin.
Yes.
Because the villains are up to something, but he doesn't know what exactly they're up to. And we see, was this after the Penguin parade thing? Is this when Bat Dad dies?
Quote unquote dies?
Yeah, quote unquote dies, like the AI.
I think so, yeah.
I think so. Maybe. I can't remember exactly. Which that scene was a heartbreaking scene. I was like, oh, like Bruce Wayne had to watch his parents die. Now Damian has to watch his artificial intelligence daddy die.
Right, yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm breaking with him.
You're ripping at my
You're
heartstrings.
ripping out my heartstrings. Yeah. But I also love the scene where the mob starts to come after him.
Yes.
And it goes to like a all black and white. And Damien's getting paranoid that they're following him and gonna get him because of what
Yeah.
happened with the parade. And it turns out it's just Alfred. Alfred's there, and he wants to help Damien out, which shows to like a kid's emotions and how like
Right.
when kids get scared, they definitely like overthink things and think
Well,
certain
and
things are happening when they don't.
it really like helps you remember like that whole part. Yeah, is the fear and how everything crazy. And we've never seen Damien that way yet until this
Yeah,
part of the movie.
yeah,
But we also like know I think we get to see the classic part of Alfred of how like he's always um been really supportive. I mean, even towards like Bruce growing up.
yeah, yeah.
So that was really comforting because we almost like the rest of the movie get this senile old man that doesn't know what the fuck's going
Yeah,
on
and we
and
get the
has a like
nice
for strange ass foods.
we get the nice thing where we find out that Bruce kept Damien away from the Batman lifestyle because he just wanted him to be a kid and have a
Right,
normal life, which Bruce did not get because his
right,
parents died at a young age when he
right,
was young, which I felt like was really good. Like I liked that a lot. That really was more different than the normal Batman, where like he brings Damien in, and Damien hasn't had that life.
right, right.
Um, but yeah, but we find out that
And I think that adds to the end of the movie.
yeah, that definitely does add to the end of the movie. But what happens after this?
He tracks down where the Joker and party are,
Uh huh.
and they're in a big snow globe,
They
which
are.
I thought was
It
hilarious.
was on top of like a candy factory.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, I think maybe,
I think it was a mound by the candy factory.
maybe.
Um, but he goes in there and tracks them down or whatever, and they come in, and then we get kind of this part that's the master plan of the Joker was to try and bring Damien like into the fold of them. And
Yeah,
like I said with the Christmas tree, then we kind of find out the whole thing. Um, from what he saw whenever the two henchmen brought him the cell phone video is kind of how destructive Damien was.
yeah,
And so they knew if they had different parts, then that would happen. So with the parade, with the Christmas tree at the zoo, all these different things, like he just made a mess of things. And we could have had that path of like, if this was a different story of Damien actually becoming like a subordinate to the Joker or whatever.
yeah. He wanted to make him like the
Um,
next like super villain kind of.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
so we got all that part. And he comes and he's like, "Oh, my boy, blah 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 blah," and talking to him about it. And then he kind of sends him over to go finally get his belt. He goes, "Here's your prize, go get it." And this is one of my favorite parts right here because they go, "We've put a bunch of things in there that you could need." So there's like TNT and a grenade and ninja stars and like
yeah,
all this other stuff. And so he walks over there, and the this part was probably like one of the most touching. He's getting a thing in between his dad and Bat Dad, in between like different things that they said as he's walking through, and Alfred as he's walking the thing, and it's like how, oh my god, I failed. I'm trying to
yeah,
do this, but I'm not as good as I should be, and having all these problems. Well, then he ends up getting there and realizing that basically with this thing that's not all it's cracked up to be. The belt's not who makes Batman.
yeah,
Batman is who makes the belt.
yeah,
So he takes the belt and he throws it in the fireplace and it blows everything up in this thing, like blows the house up and then puts a crack in the snow globe.
yeah. I love the bit where like
Which this is. This is my favorite part.
The
right
bit
here.
where the explosion happens and Joker's like, okay, which one of y'all gave the kid explosives? And they all raise their hand.
And then the Joker's hand goes up. And
Yeah.
they're like, maybe we need to reevaluate things when
Yeah.
we give kids with dynamite or
Yeah.
explosives.
Basically, yeah. No, that scene was really funny. And then Damien ends up getting like beat up and overwhelmed by all the bad guys eventually. And they end up in the candy factory. And he's trying to take them on, but he can't. And then Batman finally shows up, and everybody realizes, oh my god, this is Batman's kid, basically.
No, he's doing pretty good,
Is
beating him
he?
up. Yeah,
So I
yeah,
thought he
because
did get.
he did pretty well, even though like he was still having problems. But then you had the whole thing where he finds Bruce, and Bruce brings Mister Freeze with him,
Uh
and
huh.
he's like, Damien, you can't do anything. You need to leave. This is dangerous. Blah 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 blah. And then Batman ends up basically like getting beat up because he's rusty.
Yeah. And
And
then they're like,
and
Damien's
then
like,
Damien,
nobody touches my daddy.
yeah, Damien picks up the mantle and just goes
Yeah.
ham on all of the villains.
And Bruce finally realizes that, Damien isn't, well, he's still a little kid, but like Damien like isn't like as helpless as Bruce thinks he is. And this is when they come back together and like father and son, fight as the dynamic duo and, save the
Right.
day basically. They save Christmas.
All the villains get sent to jail.
Yeah, they save Christmas and they end up going off and
But then the part, like you said, about how Damien was raised different at this point and had
yeah,
more of a childhood or whatever, it also gave him, I feel like, more of a heart.
it's
Because then
true.
at that point, he also had heard throughout the movie about the Joker saying, like, Christmas time and doing all these heists and stuff was the best time for him because he got to be with his friends.
Yeah.
And so them coming together for this was him getting to be with his friends. He enjoyed it. He loved it.
Yeah.
And so, he kind of like gets into prison as he's going to be upset about it. So Damien asks if the Joker can spend Christmas morning with them, and they all go, I think, to like a Dunkin' Donuts kind of
They
thing.
go like a diner or something, I think it is. Like all the bad guys and I think
I
the
thought it was just the Joker.
was it just the Joker?
I think so, because I didn't see any of the other bad guys there.
But yeah, and they start singing the Jingle Bells Batman Smells.
Oh my god, how awkward was that? Like Joker starts singing, goes, "What? It's the only Christmas song I know." And then Damien starts singing it too. Picks back up, and then Alfred does it, and Commissioner Gordon,
Yeah.
and everybody's like, "This song's not funny." And Batman's just so pissed about the whole thing. He's like, "Aren't you happy to spend Christmas with your friend, Dad?" And
Yeah.
he's not
Which
my friend.
which is funny to think about as well. The only time we get a reference to Robin is in the song. Like they never speak about Robin or Nightwing at all. Like, which makes me wonder, like, were they in this universe? Like, was it just
I don't
Damien?
know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
But yeah,
Because we didn't really see like a set of suits for them either, right? In the
no, we
back.
didn't. No, there was no suits at all. Damien didn't even have the mantle of Robin because he ends up taking the mantle of Robin in the main continuity
Right.
of the comics. But
So
yeah,
I kind of wonder if they didn't add any of that to like not confuse people, because
maybe.
it does seem kind of like through like Batman lore that I do know
Uh huh.
that Batman kind of has like the Batman family, so
Yeah.
like his house isn't so lonely. But then when you really look at it in this movie, when Bruce goes to basically like solve out the mystery in the Antarctic or whatever it is, like then the house just seems kind of lonely because it's only Alfred and Damien and
And the cat.
the
Don't
cat.
forget the
Yeah.
cat. Don't forget the cat.
So I mean, like there's not anything else. Um
Yeah.
But I like this movie. I only had one little gripe. I was upset that we didn't have the henchmen around more towards the end.
Okay.
That's probably my only gripe. It wasn't necessarily a thing, but they invested in them up to that point, and I was kind of like, all right, well, we didn't see the Joker do away with them. We didn't see anything else. Like, where are they?
Yeah.
So that's probably my only little
I
gripe about that.
my my complaint is I felt like the movie was a little too long.
Yeah.
I thought because it was like a 90-minute movie, which is like over like an hour 30
Are you sure
almost.
it was nine? I thought it was closer to 2 hours.
It says 90 minutes on
Okay.
Wikipedia, but I remember it being like an hour and 30-ish movie.
Yeah.
Um, I think they could have cut couple things here and there. But all in all, like maybe it's because I was just really tired when I watched the movie. I felt like the movie was a little too long for me personally.
Did you fall asleep?
I did fall asleep and I had to watch it again.
Knew it.
I did. I fell asleep and I had to watch it again.
Yeah.
Uh, but like it's a movie that I would put in like Christmas rotation for like a Christmas movie. If I was watching
I
like
agree.
Christmas movies, like
I agree.
marathon,
Yeah.
I would show this to my daughter. I think it's a fun movie for kids to watch because it does have a nice. It has something for everybody. You know, it has the action, the comedy. You
Right.
know,
Right. See,
it
and
follows a lot of
I watched it with my son, so
it follows a lot of like Christmas tropes and stuff.
we did that.
Like
And then it was kind of funny because then my mom kind of gravitated into it,
yeah,
was sitting down watching it, and she was entertained by it. So I was like, man, this
I
movie's catching everybody.
I will have to say I thought the movie was very well animated. Very
I
well animated. Um I'm a little hit or miss on some of the designs, but I mean that's just a personal nitpick. I don't think like they're all bad.
like the
Um
penguin.
the penguin was terrifying. The
No
penguin
shit. The
the penguin
penguin
was
was
the
terrifying.
penguin was nightmare fuel with this little rascal.
Right.
I liked Batman's design. It caught me off guard that he had a beard, but I mean, I like beards; they're cool, and I like that they made it a joke that oh, Mister Wayne, you should shave, you know. And
Yeah.
then people would comment about his beard and stuff. Just thought it was funny,
Yeah.
Um, for the most part, I thought the voice acting was really well done. I did not think Damian was annoying. I was very
Oh
surprised
my
that they.
gosh. Batman's voice actor threw me off.
Do you know who that is?
Yes, because whenever you're sitting there, you're like, that voice sounds very
It
familiar.
was Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson's brother. That's who it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I don't necessarily feel like he fits Batman, but in this role of this particular Batman, I feel like it kind of works.
Yeah.
Which that threw me off like big time when I first saw him in the credits. Like Luke Wilson as Batman. What's up with this?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, I've seen some weird Batman castings before that I didn't think would work, but like, okay, we'll go with it. I thought Damian was really good in this. I am not a Damian Wayne fan
Yeah.
for like the comics, but in this, I did actually really like Damian. I thought he was fun. He very much acted like what a kid would act like. I feel like with he was thrusted in if they were thrusted into the role of Batman.
Right.
I mean, I had fun with it. It was a fun movie.
Yeah.
All my gripes with the movie are just personal nitpicks.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like I don't think the movie was terrible.
Good, good. So what would you rate it?
I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give it
Uh
a high solid 4 out of 5.
I I agree with you. There is a little some things in it. I don't know what though. So
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't give it a straight 5, but I'm probably
Uh-huh.
going to go 4.5.
Okay, that's like a 4.5 kind of.
Yeah, so it's like
Yeah.
uh an 8.5 together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think that's a
I
good
mean,
score.
it was decent. It's better than some of the other shit that it would have had to gone up against
It
that we've
was
watched.
it was a lot better than a lot of the DC animated straight to video
Yeah,
stuff.
right. And see, one of the other things that really I think felt really good was that we had just watched like Tokyo Godfathers when I watched this.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, man, like, what is up with these like Christmas bangers? Like, these are good.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
So, like, I was like, okay, is it Tokyo Godfather good? No. Is it close? Yeah. I'd say
Yeah.
it's kind of close.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of the other stuff we watched, like, dude, knocked it out of the park. I was like,
Yeah.
definitely.
No,
So,
this is a movie I definitely recommend. It's a lot of fun. If you have kids, watch it. If you don't, watch it anyways. If you're a fan of the comic books, watch it.
right, turn it on in the
It's
background.
put it on the background. I feel like I could watch it again and see all the little details I missed
Yeah,
within the movie, because there were some little details I caught. Like there was like a Sergeant Rock toy in the when they go to the mall or whatever it is. I was like,
yeah.
oh, that's a big DC pool right there for Sergeant Rock, because
Sounds
like
to
who
me
knows
like
about
you might
Sergeant
have
Rock?
to record your own episode of the podcast and point out, where you watch this and point out all the little
Oh,
details that you see.
I don't really think I want to redo that. I know, no.
You just
That
said
was
that you were going to rewatch it.
I said if I rewatched it.
Why not today?
I don't want to rewatch it right now. I already watched it twice.
You can watch it again and point out all the details.
No, that's fine. I don't really need to do that. But yeah, I mean,
So,
it's a solid movie. Definitely recommended. And if you would like to help the podcast out, make sure to listen, share the podcast. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast on whatever podcast platform you listen to us on, preferably Spotify or Apple Podcast.
right,
You can leave us feedback on Spotify or Apple Podcast, and we'll get back with you, and we'll actually talk about it on the podcast if you feel the need to leave us some feedback. That would be most grateful. It'll be like a Christmas present to Otakuology, getting feedback
right.
from the fans. But yeah,
Feedback.
this is the last episode for Otakuology, I think, this year, because I don't remember if we said if we were gonna do any more episodes this year. 'Cause it's gonna come out on Christmas,
Right.
but we'll see
So, our
how
next
that
one will probably be New Year's.
New Year's probably, yeah. But yeah, thank you for listening. This has been a crazy year, I have to say, for Otakuology. We have had our ups and downs, but I think we've come out strong on the exit. And we're
I
start
think we're always strong.
starting to get our groove back, and being able to record and stuff and
It's
whatnot.
the beards. You know it.
It's
It's
the
the beards.
beards. It's the
Yeah.
beards. Yeah.
Yeah,
It.
halfway through, I had that whole thing where somebody fucked up my beard, so I had to shave it off. So, it's the beards.
It's the beards. But yeah. Anyways,
Uh,
guys, we'll catch you guys on the next episode next
Right?
year, probably.
See you next Tuesday.
That's for sure.